Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special interview with the Fit Summit Leadership Circle. I'm joined directly from Australia with Mike, John and Amanda, the leadership team of World Gym Australia. Throughout this pandemic, they have performed incredibly well, and looking ahead for the next couple of years, they really are a business to watch here, not just in Asia Pacific, but globally as they grow their portfolio. Let me bring in Mike first. Mike, it's now been 15 years since yourself and John embarked on this journey of World Gym Australia. Reflecting back on these 15 years, how has this journey been, and can you share perhaps a couple of memorable milestones?
Yeah, well, thanks firstly for having us on your show. The last 15 years has been pretty significant for John and I and Amanda, who has been with us since the start. But I think over the past 15 years, there have been so many milestones with a growing business. It's probably hard to consider them and recount most of them, but I think the most memorable that we've had would have to be where we grew initially to the point where we needed to appoint Amanda in the first instance to come and help us. John and I initially started out wanting to have a club each. That was our original short-term goal, which we did pretty quickly. And then, you know, it just has grown exponentially into what we have today. So I think, you know, for us being at 30 clubs now, obviously every 10 clubs is a milestone. So we had one at 10 and 20 and now 30, and we're well on our way to 40. You know, and this probably the most memorable at the moment milestone would have been Amanda's continued employment with us, and then now she's the Chief Operating Officer for our group. You know, so that's a significant step forward for us, and now replacing, not that she's replaceable, but replacing the role that Amanda held for us. You know, that's a very significant milestone for us. It's probably, as we were going through the interview process, it's probably the most significant employment process we've been through to find that right person that fits with what we are and what we stand for today. So then, you know, the milestone of hitting 80,000 members across our group was a phenomenal one for us. And I think, you know, we're the second largest World Gym group outside of America. So for us to do that, like I said, the milestones for us are just coming thick and fast, and we're just really appreciative and enjoying the ride, to be honest.
Well, 30 clubs, 80,000 members, but I think one of the most telling opportunities is always how you give back to the employees that have been with you, Mike. So the fact that Amanda has risen so successfully is a true testament to your success. John, let me bring you in here. You describe World Gym as best in class. That's always been your mantra from day one. But taking that mantra forward for 15 years, how have you kept that mindset up?
Yeah, look, I think the big thing with being what I'd look at, or what we look at best in class being, is we want to offer everyone the opportunity to benefit from fitness and health. So whatever areas we have in our club, and we try and have a full spectrum of training facilities and you know, group classes, functional training areas, yoga box, whatever we do, we want to have it as an authentic standalone area that someone, you know, instead of going to a yoga box, they can come to a World Gym. Instead of going to a functional training facility, they can come and do it at our club. That's what, to me, best in class is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the fanciest fit out, the best lights, the most expensive sinks and toilets and all the rest of it. Best in class means to us giving our members the best opportunity to get a result. And so that comes from, you know, Mike and I, you know, when we first looked at our model and we looked at what other people were doing, other groups were, we wanted to be inclusive of anyone and not excluding anyone. And there are a lot of models that exclude people, you know, obviously by limiting the amount of dumbbells and weights you have, you exclude a group of people. By being a gender-only club, you exclude, obviously, female-only clubs exclude males. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to be have a full spectrum of age groups and both genders in our clubs, and also just offer spaces that everyone can feel comfortable in, and that's what best in class to me and to the group means.
Well, I think that's obviously resonated well, given your rising presence in membership, John. And Mike, let me pull you back in here. Over these past 15 years, of course, you were early investors in the Australian marketplace, and no doubt it's changed across that time. What are your thoughts on how the landscape for fitness and health has changed in Australia? Is today still a good time for people to invest into the sector?
Yeah, I suppose that's a kind of an open-edged question. To say that it's changed, it probably hasn't changed a great deal. Like, it's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed much. So what's significant that's changed is the massive introduction of the 24-hour small box. So, you know, Anytime and Plus and, you know, Snap and those guys are doing incredibly well in the small box 24-hour space. And now the introduction of the, you know, the F45 and the other Air Locker and the other 9 rounds, 12 rounds, all these small boutique type clubs didn't exist 15 years ago. They didn't exist 10 years ago. So that's probably the biggest change in the whole structure that we see. As far as, you know, what we do, it hasn't really changed. We're providing the same facility that John just went into some detail about, how we make our members feel comfortable and feel at home. And when you talk about the finance, and, you know, we've all just obviously gone through the whole COVID scenario, and we're all, most of us, lucky enough to come out the other side of that. But when John and I started this 15 years ago, we'd just come out of the global financial crisis. The whole world was not in shutdown, but in massive financial panic. So when we started going to investors or banks or sources of money, people were not talking to gyms. You know, we were the last people anybody wanted to talk to. They had no trust and no security with the fitness industry, because it was in such an infant state back then. And I think that, so if you look at what happened back then and what's happening today, there's problems all the way along the way. They're just different problems, or they've spurred from a different area. So I think we've always got those challenges. So that's why I say it has changed, but it hasn't. You know, like, there's still so many challenges that rise every day. But is it a good time to get into the fitness market? It's like saying, is it a good time to get into the property market? You know, houses have gone from 200,000 to $1 million now. Is it still a good time to buy at $1 million? Yeah, because next year it's going to be worth 1.1. You know, like, that's the property dilemma that we're all in, and gyms are the same. So you've got to, if you've got the right approach and the right model and the right guidance, it's definitely a good time to get in, because there are more people now than ever. And it's a growing population of people that are interested in their health and well-being. So I think we believe strongly that it will always be a growth market. There's always going to be more people that want to get invested in themselves rather than less. So yeah, I would think it's definitely still a great time to be in the fitness industry, for sure.
John, Mike touched on it there. You successfully grew the company through the global financial crisis. And again, you've successfully grown it through this pandemic. How have businesses, though, in looking at how they're going to manage and operate their franchisee or just the wider group, how has COVID changed that?
Well, firstly, for us as a group, it brought our group a lot closer together. You know, we were very proactive with our franchisees at a head office level, and now we have great franchisees. We came together weekly on weekly heads of department calls, and we were across everything that was happening, every state, because in Australia, pretty much every state was in a different position. And I think it benefited us as a group. It made us a lot closer. It made us, like a lot of other businesses, think outside of the square laterally about how we can, how we can provide service to our members without actually having our members in clubs, how we can keep profit centres open to keep the businesses ticking over. I think, there was restaurants out there that suddenly went from not having patrons in to selling takeaway food, and I think there was a lot of people had some great ideas of lateral thinking. And I think you just keep that lateral thinking going, just because a pandemic might be over, there's still these opportunities that we can use with online training or, different revenue streams that we can put into clubs that can benefit our business. It definitely, as far as COVID goes, I think as coming off the back of what Mike said, it's made a lot of people reset, and a lot of people are thinking, man, you know, I had a lifestyle before where it was just work, and I didn't worry too much about my health and all the rest of it. And you know, every year we see the amount of population that increase membership numbers in gyms, and I think we're just going to continue to see that. And I think COVID has actually pushed people into healthy lifestyles or healthy living, and whether it's going to a gym or going for a walk in the park, or, you know, joining a local tennis club or whatever it is, as long as it's getting them fit and healthy, for us in the gym industry, there is a chance that eventually they'll migrate to a gym. And I think moving forward, it's just about learning from obviously the biggest thing that comes out of COVID is cleanliness. You know, your clubs need to be clean. You need to have that. Any clubs that had come out of COVID that, you know, was following the same cleaning systems, or the lack of cleaning systems that were there before, are going to have issues. So, you know, you got to update, move forward, and I think for us, it's definitely strengthened our brand. It's brought our group closer together, our franchisees closer together, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to bring more members into the club due to the fact that they want to get fit and healthy.
Thanks, John. Amanda, let me bring you in now. You're one of the first employees, and now you find yourself as Chief Operating Officer. Congratulations on the rise up the ranks. You've also successfully brought in 50% of memberships that are female for the new gyms, which is another incredible statistic. And again, maybe testament to the fact that your offering is now very holistic: yoga, strength conditioning, group fitness, and the whole works. You're now going to be looking after the operations for the group going forward. What challenges do you see on the horizons for operators and franchisees as they continue to manage their businesses?
Thanks for the congrats. Yeah, there are a few challenges for our gym owners. One of the biggest ones is finance for new facilities. So banks are obviously a little bit more worried about lending to the gym industry at the moment, and historically as well. Our clubs aren't the cheapest to build because they're so large. So the fit out costs and the expense involved in setting up one of our clubs can grow pretty big, but because we're large, we've been able to create those zones where both males and females feel comfortable in our clubs, and so things like group fitness, we've got comfort zones, the creche, the childminding service. So it's definitely worth the investment to have that bigger facility, but finance is a challenge. One of the second challenges, I think, would be finding the right employees. So working in a gym is more than just a casual job now. So I'm the perfect example. I started working casually in the fitness industry a while ago, and now I'm the COO of World Gym Australia. It's crazy to think, but there's definitely a lot of growth potential, and it's more than just a casual job now. But finding those right people with the right mindset is definitely a challenge.
Well, let me bring in Mike here, because of course one of the things you've built out is not just the services the gym is offering. Of course, it has to be customer experience. How are you investing in customer experience? Are you working through partnerships? I know, for example, you're working with one of our partners, MyZone. How are you looking at investing into the future of the customer experience?
Well, I think from the outset, John and I have always had the belief that we are a service-based industry. We're about working with people to assist people in achieving their goals, whatever those goals might be. So first and foremost, when we started setting up clubs 15 years ago, it was always our mindset to have as many touch points with members that we possibly could. That was one of the drivers behind, you know, our retail success, because we want to talk to our members every day. Throughout the history of this industry, every club owner, every club group has tried to work out ways to minimize staff and talk less to members by automating everything. We went the other way around, and we put more staff in, which comes at a higher cost to us, but it's important to us because I think, you know, there's many gurus out there in the industry that sell consultative services, and they all talk about touch points with members. The more often you touch a member, metaphorically, the more likely they are to stay, because they feel like they're part of the group, okay? So why do you want to take that service away from members? We want to introduce that back to members. So that's what we've put a lot of our effort into over the last 15 years. And Amanda just touched on it then. Finding the right people to join you on that journey that want to interact with people and be friendly and cooperative and provide help and assistance to the member is so important to us. It's our first priority. So the member experience, without a doubt, to us is the first priority. Some of the tools that we use to achieve a better member experience are tools like MyZone. Because we run big box clubs with upwards of 4,000 members now, it's very, very difficult to build a community within that large group of people. So any tool that enables us to get members to communicate with one another, whether it virtually or whether it in person in a class, they're good tools to have in your business. And MyZone does that very, very well. I'm an avid user of MyZone, and you know, I've got friends all over the globe that comment on my workouts and vice versa. And, you know, it just brings that camaraderie together within a fitness industry that is global. It's not just in, you know, World Gym Coomera or World Gym Maitland or World Gym Penrith. This is a global platform, and, you know, it enables competition between people on a global level as well. So, you know, actually I take my hat off to MyZone, because they've built a really, really strong platform that we're fortunate enough to be a part of, and we're really happy to be a part of that as well. And it's growing through our brand. But I think it comes back to that main focus of ours, which is to try and engage the member to have the best experience they can have in our facilities. And that's always going to be our driver.
Amanda, let's touch on this aspect of community, because you've got such an incredible community inside of your gyms. And what I suppose the pandemic has brought to life is this acceleration for virtual digital touch points with your customer. What is the latest updates with World Gym Anywhere? How is this going to evolve your offering to customers? Is this a part of a new technology plan? Where do you see this initiative moving to?
Yeah, so World Gym Anywhere is the World Gym International product for training anywhere in the world. We originally started doing online training when COVID shut down all of our gyms. So we created World Gym Online, and thankfully we had a team that were able to put it together pretty quickly for us. And we had some awesome instructors that wanted to still have that touch point with their members, but we needed to do it virtually due to the closure. So it evolved, and World Gym International saw that as an opportunity to create a new revenue stream for the clubs globally. When it was just local in Australia, it was free for members, and World Gym Australia covered all the costs involved, just to try and keep that community feel with our members. We had people dialing in from all over the globe. We had people in the UK and all other countries that had been previous members of World Gym or followed us online and saw this great opportunity to do their workouts from home. So World Gym Anywhere is just the evolution of that, and the team in World Gym International have put in a lot of work working with Les Mills and setting it all up, so now we can roll that out globally, but also in Australia with our franchisees, and bring in that extra revenue for them as well.
Well, it's exciting to see a new hybrid approach come to marketplace. I know many people are investing in there, Amanda, so great to see that come to fruition. John, 2020 in reflection was a year of growth, which is incredible, all things considered. 2021, you're growing again. What does the next couple of years hold for you? Any particular milestones you want to share?
Yeah, well, like you said, 2020 was a really weird year, because we never thought we'd be opening clubs up during the pandemic, but effectively we did, and we grew 4,000 members during the pandemic. So that's obviously something that we want to continue to do. You know, we've only really focused on Queensland, New South Wales, and a little bit in Western Australia, and we've got a lot of areas in New South Wales that we want to continue growing. We do see strength in numbers. We've always said, Mike and I've always said it, strength in numbers, reciprocation, brings brand awareness. And obviously, the more clubs we open, the more people get to touch a world gym, the more people talk about a world gym. So yeah, we announced a few weeks ago that we've got 7 clubs on the go at the moment, which all franchisees reinvesting in either the second or third club. We're going to make another announcement next week of a couple more clubs that are coming on board this year. So we're looking at probably 10 new clubs this year, which is the largest growth we've ever had. And I definitely would say that coming off the back of COVID, we've never experienced the amount of opportunities as far as commercial space opportunities, the amount of franchisees wanting to get involved in the brand, and also the growth in numbers in our clubs of people coming back or new people coming into the industries and training. So, you know, 2021 and 2022 is going to be amazing years, I think, for anyone who's in the fitness industry. If you've got a good model and you're prepared to, you know, back yourselves and go for it. And you know, we're looking at it in a sense that we only go with. We're lucky that we've got 7 clubs with 7 existing franchisees, because we do take a lot of time to find the right franchisees. And that's so this year the growth is going to be solid growth with existing franchisees. Next year, obviously, we've got quite a few that we're looking at now with new franchisees already, and we are definitely moving more into design constructs than we were ever before. So you're finding blocks of land and building the buildings. So yeah, it's going to be a massive year. I'd like to see us at 40 clubs at the end of the year. I think that would be an incredible milestone for the group to hit. But the most important milestone, you know, something Mike and I get a real kick about is seeing a franchisee open their second or third club, and reinvesting in the brand. And we go to every one of our openings now. I love watching the members walk in and look around the gym and go, wow, I love the franchisees' excitement on their face when they're seeing the members come in, and that's something we all look forward to. So those are our big milestones.
Well, John, I think they're obviously fantastic to hit, and we wish you and the team every single success. I think for everyone watching at home, this is, for me, a reflection of where our industry is going. It really is positive. We're seeing a rebound recovery in areas where COVID is finally in the rear view mirror. And for those watching in some countries that perhaps it's still maybe more of a desperate situation, keep on in there. This is exactly where we need to get to as an industry. I'm going to ask each of you one last question. We're going to put business to one side, and we're going to look at a life lesson. Now, the last 12 months, you've probably done a lot of things personally that you maybe weren't expecting to, overcome a few challenges you probably weren't expecting to either. I'm going to ask each of you for what one life lesson has positively impacted your life. Mike, let me start with you first.
I think the last 12 months is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned is to really recognise and appreciate what you have, what you've achieved, and where we're at. You know, I think the facilities we've built, the networking that we've built, the relationships that we've built, you know, I really appreciate all of that. And, you know, personally as well, that's enabled me to build a good personal life as well. So, you know, it all ties together. I think the biggest regret most people would have on the 22nd of March, 2020, when they all said, I won't go to the gym today, I'll go tomorrow. And on the 23rd of March, there was no gyms. So I think making the most of every day and appreciating what you have is the two biggest things to take away from me for last year.
Thanks, Mike. Amanda?
I learned that we're resilient. It was a very scary announcement on the 22nd of March when the PM took over the TV channels, 5 days before my planned wedding, and everything changed the next day. And of course, it can be very scary, and a lot of people had it worse than I did, but we are resilient. We just got on with it. I just rescheduled my wedding. I took my exercise outside and set up stuff out the backyard, and I just kept moving. And here we are 12 months later, thankfully, pretty well untouched from COVID, and as far as the business goes, and for me personally. So yeah, we're definitely resilient.
Thanks, Amanda. John, final words?
Well, I think like everyone, family and friends. Obviously, we had you suddenly go from not going to work to spending time with your family, and realize how little of time you do get to spend with your family. And I think that's really important. Probably the thing I realized the most was we have the best jobs. This industry, the fitness industry, is the best industry to be in. We get to touch people every day. We get to help motivate people every day, achieve their goals and facilitate them. We're not in a job where you're dealing with a customer that doesn't want to pay you the money or is having a bad time. We're getting people at the best time of their day coming into our gym, the time they get to spend on themselves, for themselves. And there was a long period of time that I didn't understand what I was missing until we reopened the doors and all the smiles came back and all the people came back, and it brought that excitement back into their lives and into our lives. We're lucky. We were working in the best industry that there is.
Thanks, everyone. Well, if I can just recap that, an appreciation for every single day, the fact that we are resilient and we can lean on each other and lean on ourselves. And of course, going forward with John's comment, family and friends, and that we do work inarguably in the world's best industry. Mike, thank you very much for your time. John, thank you very much. And Amanda, congratulations again on your rising success, and every best wish for the new role. Ladies and gentlemen, big thanks to all at World Gym Australia for their continuing positivity and success. We wish them success, and we wish you the best of health. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks, guys.